In the virtual universe, game companies are both creator and enforcer of the law. Peter Ludlow was a virtual journalist in Sims Online, and he set up his own newspaper, the Alphaville Herald. He described how the game's creators were not addressing issues of injustice in the game.
We tracked a lot of events involving scammers and griefers, people that were troublemakers inside of the game. In particular, we tracked this avatar that ran a place called Free Money for Newbies. And in effect, what this avatar and his cohorts would do would be to take advantage of newcomers to the game and steal their money, steal their resources, and find ways to sexually humiliate them and do things like that.
But for Professor Ludlow's avatar, speaking out came with a heavy price.
The Sims Online, Electronic Arts Corporation, killed me. That is, they terminated me. The initial feeling is that you're like really, really pissed off. So then I borrowed a friend's account and I went in and my property was still there. And I had my 2 pet cats were still there and their eyeballs were looking out. And so there's this sort of weird phenomenon where all your property is still sitting there, but you are in effect dead. It's like coming back from, as a ghost, as it were, where you can no longer interact with your property and, you're out several $100s worth of property as well.
Euryzenis was deleted from the game by Electronic Arts, the multi-million-dollar firm behind Sims Online.
I think the issue was really one of killing the messenger. That is, they weren't so upset about the fact that these things were happening, but they were upset about the fact that word got out about these things happening. It was also symbolic of something else, which was that there's always been this conflict between game users and the gods that run the game, right? They're like Greek gods. They're not benevolent gods, but what they do is they have these powers and they reach down and they dabble in their worlds. Not in a systematic way, not in a principled way, but they have certain friends. They'll reach in and help out their friends. They have certain enemies. They reach in and try and mess up their enemies. But it's not a viable governance structure. It's just Greek gods reaching down from Olympus, dabbling as they feel fit, given the spur of the moment and their attitude of the moment.
So who exactly are the gods of these worlds? Who makes the rules that the virtual citizens have to live by?
I never saw myself, and we as a company certainly didn't see ourselves as the active gods of a new world. Second Life is, in a strong sense, a proof that a relatively low amount of central organization is adequate for people to be able to build structure and meaning and society around. If you look at Second Life today, many of the islands at the edge of Second Life are completely, regulated by the people that have come together there themselves.
There was this region in Second Life which was inhabited largely by lots of off-duty military personnel, and they had a kind of military game that they'd constructed in there. And one of the residents of the region was complaining that someone had set up a weapon to target her every time she appeared in the area. There was an attempt to resolve this dispute by talking to some of the senior people in the region, right? And they were very explicit. Look, don't run to the Lindens, don't run to the Lindens. That's not how we solve problems here. But then, of course, she went to the Lindens or contacted them. They came in and completely screwed everything up because they didn't know the background, they didn't know the situation, and they didn't know how to productively manage the situation.
Officially, Second Life believes in freedom of the individual. That is, the company won't interfere with the players. The same goes for the makers of the Korean game Lineage. However, when faced with unfair treatment, players often head straight to the real-world head office in Seoul in search of justice. The creators of Lineage had to adapt their ideas of non-interference.
제가 처음에 NC소프트에 가서 놀랐던 게 NC소프트 회사의 그 문이 이렇게 철문으로 돼 있었어요. 그러니까 거의 폭동을 대비한 듯한 그런 분위기였고 보안도 아주 그러니까 경비원들이 여러 명이 지키고 있었고요. 중요한 질문이고 많은 사람들이 그 얘기를 했어요. 게임 리니지에서 어떤 악덕이 생길 때마다 이건 게임 회사가 책임져야 되는 게 아니냐. 근데 저도 똑같이 신의 비유를 할 수가 있는데 신이 지금 이 세상을 만든 신이 어떤 사안이 생길 때마다 매일 같이 이렇게 출연을 하셔서 그 문제를 해결을 해버리고 마치 슈퍼맨처럼 리니지에 대해서도 할 수 있는데 특히나 리니지에서는 이게 현실적인 문제인 게 송재경 이사가 할 수 있는 송재경 이사도 똑같은 사람이기 때문에 그 사람의 능력에는 한계